Hey everybody, good morning. Terry, thanks for becoming a channel member and supporter. I appreciate it. Welcome, General Rush, Gary, Terry, Altero, Sledge, my man, Captain Sledge. We got Rob, Diane, Darren, Mark. Lieutenant Colonel's on the road right now, he says. Dawn, Frank, Dan. Welcome, everybody. Rongamer, Svenborn. Glad to see you. Check this out right here. Look. I said that we might drop on earnings. Coming back pretty, we're down about 2.8%. It was down to like 7%, I think, overnight. I guess if we turn on the extended trading hours, we can kind of see what the, yeah, look at that plummet right down there to that trend line. Downtrend highs, we went and tested it. That's bullish as long as we hold above that right there. Hold above that. Bullish. Isn't that kind of crazy how this all works? So coming into the open up here. Might pop. But we got the drop on earnings. Dun, 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 dun. Crazy stuff, right? Crazy stuff. And as Brongamer says, right off the 4-hour roadmap line. I guess you have to get it kind of figured, a little bit of gap on regular trading hours, 4-hour roadmap line, a little bit below the extended hours roadmap line, right in there, 221. So that downtrend high is like just a couple. Busted up through, retested, bust up through, retest. That looks just like the S&P 500 chart right there. Now, I don't know, like, I wasn't as confident on, I have to admit, I was not as confident on the Amazon play. I did not take it. I did take the Google play, made a few bucks, made like 10%. And, dun, dun, dun. Hey, sometimes I get lucky. And, set my can off the side there. Let me put that back up there. All right. Drank the watermelon today. And I guess we should go hit the disclaimer, look at the jobs. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. That means I make predictions like Amazon, like Google. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I may never get another one right again. Sometimes I get lucky. Let's be honest. And this presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining. Hopefully you're entertained. Not a recommendation to be buying or selling anything such as stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries, bonds, stuff from gurus. Don't buy stuff from me unless you trust me. Like, seriously. Seriously. If you're like, and let's be honest, if you're one of those traders that's out there and you're like, I've been doing this 40 years, I don't need no help, I don't need anybody to tell me how to do it, I just need the trade alerts. You need more help than you realize you need. More help than you think you need. Be careful out there. Nobody's watching out for your money more than you, but if you need somebody to tell you what buttons to push, you need to hire a consultant financial advisor. It's not what I'm doing. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just out here pointing out stuff. Sometimes I get lucky. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. Anyway, today, Friday, look at this. We had the unemployment rate ticking down slightly. Yeah, everybody's optimistic. I feel like, we went through this little period of like, not sure what's going to happen in December and then January. Lots of people are pretty optimistic. I don't know that there's lots of hiring, but people seem to be pretty optimistic, at least business owners I've talked to, that things are going to be pretty good. I've talked about the risks here, the unknown consequences or unintended consequences of cutting a bunch of government spending, especially if upwards of 60% of the population kind of survives off of government money. So, we got to watch out for this over the next couple months. If it starts eroding, could be a sign of things to come. So that's still a pretty good rate. We had the non-farm employment change. That one came in 143K. And average hour earnings creeped up 0.5%. It's not bad. We do have the inflation and consumer sentiment coming out at 10 o'clock, and that could be a little spicy. We'll see. We'll see. See what happens. Yeah, Jay, I can see your name. Welcome. And next week, let's go check it out. What do we got next week, right? This week, just kind of a week on financial stuff. Now, next week, we get some CPI on Wednesday. Tuesday, we got Fed Chair Powell testifying in front of, is it the House or the, let's see. Senate, the Senate Banking Committee. Usually he does the, yeah, there it is. I was going to say, usually it's back to back. So on Wednesday, he'll be in front of the House. And on Tuesday, he'll be in front of the Senate. So kind of do that back to back usually. Might say something spicy, may not say something spicy. I don't know. Then core PPI coming out on Thursday. And core retail sales, or retail sales on Friday. So we get a week of economic numbers. And these are coming out in order. So I don't think there's any monkey business going on. It's when the CPI, PPI, retail sales, that's the normal order. When they go out of order for whatever reason, I'm always leery, always suspicious. Like, why are they changing them? Why are they changing it up? So this is normal, so probably not going to be any crazy surprises, at least I hope. And we'll just see how that runs next week. Week after that, just kind of looking at the month here, not a lot really happening there. Yeah, not a lot coming in the week after next. But that is OPEX. So we'll see what happens. It's the normal monthly option expiration. Could be, we could get something happening there. Now, the Japanese 2-year rate did spike overnight, or while we were sleeping, and that's interesting. That could be putting pressure on that. I mean, it's one of those things we need to keep an eye on the Nike. If it starts doing some crazy stuff, breaks out of the range that it's been in, then we're going to have to prepare for a big correction or a big pop. I don't know if it's going to pop out of the top or pop out of the bottom. The bottom seems likely since we just keep hitting our head and hitting our head and hitting our head, and we're at a lower high. So we'll look at that in here in a second. Alrighty. If you got questions, well, hit them in the chat there. And if you are brand new here, you're like, how do I even chat? Click the button. Be a subscriber on the channel. It's all the way over that way on the other side. And click the logo down there in the corner. Be a channel subscriber. If you hang out, you watch a few of these, you like it, consider being a channel member. We'd appreciate it. Love all the support. I'm just a guy just trying to get a few things right, make a couple bucks in the markets. Still biased long here, but we have not been able to break above that zone. Right there. That line's still holding. Yesterday, still holding. Today, trying to poke above, but we're still holding it. Still holding. Here's the target up here. I'm still 75 up and 25% bias down. Let's come out over under right there. 75 up to the target, 25 down. We could just fail from here. Now, if we pop up here by the OPEX, I would watch out for that. Like, that changes the game. Like, all of a sudden we hit the target, 75 worked out. Now it's like probably tipping it back to 75% down, 25% higher up. Actually it's the standard would actually be 35% likely to go cruising right up here and 65% likely to come back down to the roadmap line right there. It's kind of the way the statistics work. So this target right there, 75% likely. I may actually be 85% that we're going up and 15% down. Just based on, like, we've got to get above that resistance, though. That resistance has been pretty solid in there. for well over for like 2 months now. Pretty solid resistance going higher. We've had a lot of chop. So we may push it right up here. Could go fast, could be a day or two, possibly a week, possibly 2 weeks, possibly into the 21st, the OPEX. And then we could do that bigger down I was talking about. And this next down, if we do this in the next few days, couple weeks, the next down could be a bit bigger. I don't think it's going to be the one that takes us to 4,000 yet. But we definitely could go visit the lower 5,000s. We could come down right in here. Pop up, do a thing like this. Out to May, possibly. Maybe June. Somewhere down in the low 5,000s. Then we do another rally into like October. Possibly up to like 6,600. And then the game's over. That's one to keep an eye on, okay? That's kind of my working theory of the potential path forward. Always subject to change. Keep coming back. Make sure you subscribe. Come watch me. At least once a week, I do these every day. Try to update with the twists and turns in the market. So that's kind of that's the big picture expectation right now over the next couple months. Where I think we're going. Might be right, might be wrong. That's what I'm seeing on the chart as potential. NASDAQ still holding below that upper downtrend. And once we get above this if we can get above this pretty definitively, everything should spike pretty quickly. It may take us a couple weeks up here, but I think we're heading right up there. This still has a little bit of down pressure with that downtrend of highs. If we don't break above it, we start breaking below yesterday and then below the day before that. This puts us in a danger zone to retest that support that we've tested like 6 or 7 times. That July high. Go retest that again. If we get below that July high, roadmap line on the daily, still in the cards. So, still like 75 higher, 25 lower. Russell, churning. There's the resistance zone. Now, as the S&P and the NASDAQ pop to those new highs, if you're not sure what the heck ES and NQ were, that was the S&P 500 futures and the NASDAQ 100 futures. S&P 500, 100, yeah. And this is the small caps. This is where like 85% of the country is employed, is in these Russell 2000 companies. They're not very high in market cap, but this is where most of us work. This is the resistance zone right in here. We may see Russell pop up in this zone while S&P and NASDAQ go make higher highs. The biggest companies in the world live here in the NASDAQ. The just a broad brush of the biggest companies, 500, kind of a nice balance. And then 85% of the country works in these companies. It's just kind of a keep an eye on what's going on. So this is indicating that all that jobs rhetoric, something's up. This is not sitting at all-time highs. This is kind of in a correction. This is looking like we might get a bigger flush. So people are, Wall Street not confident that we're going to see a bunch of outperformance in smaller companies right now. Mid caps and small caps. It's kind of interesting when you look at it. Oil tested the first zone there. Testing the first zone, getting a little bounce off of it. If we break back above here, we're going on up here. If we reject off of here, down at the 60 area is the next support on the downside. And you could buy here if you wanted to, something like UCO, USO. Pick your favorite oil play. You could buy here. You could sell here. Possibly sell up here. And if we break down below here, GTFO. Gold getting a nice little bump this morning. Not really breaking out. Just kind of sitting there. Just below the 2,900. You know, we did spike the target right there 2 days back. I liquidated a lot of my long-term gold position. I kind of feel strongly that we might see a bigger retrace again. We did the retrace. We popped up. We hit the target. Why not? Get another retrace, right? You know, put this over here. Put this down here. Up there. Put this one down here at that low. See, we hit the 1272 right there. Got a little extra spicy. Now we could retest this breakout level from November. That November high, we could retest that and go on up. And if we break down below that, we may be heading down here, or possibly even down here on gold. Now, the canary, for me, right here, we're not pushing above that December high on silver. This concerns me that silver is not participating with gold. Maybe indicative that we're about to get a bigger flush in those precious metals. Okay, well, you know, yeah, but I'm telling you, like, silver needs to catch up. It's not indicating it's going to catch up. This may be what we're about to see. Cautious, super cautious on that one. I'm a perma-cautious trader. Like, I don't want to lose my money. And we went through this last week, I think it was, you know. You got to stay in the game. Like, you can't just push all the chips in all the time. Bitcoin, back up to that. We've just been hovering right around that 100,000 level. I'd like to see this push back up through 105 and actually get the fudge out of here. We just keep riding this downtrend of highs from the top. Haven't broken through. And if we look at the spot markets, as I said the other day on the lower time frame, if we can break above these highs right here, this thing can rocket off and get us up here pretty quickly. Now look at that. We fully hit that 618 level right there. This is pretty much in play right here. Move it all over, move it all over. There's the target up here. May actually add the BitX right there. Or BitU. BitX, BitU. If you're like, how do you play Bitcoin? There's no reason to play options on Bitcoin. You can just play these right here. This is 2x leverage on Bitcoin. That's pretty good. Maybe like, well, it's not as good as options. Well, you could play some options, but I like to be a little more conservative on what I do. And then there's BitU, another 2x leverage on Bitcoin. These both could pop up significantly. That could be almost a double up there if Bitcoin really breaks out and runs. So, hope that gives you some ideas. ETH still at this support. Has not been able to get off of that target. That's like 4 days, 5 days now. Just grinding right there. And that's the futures. Look at the spot market. Still just grinding. There's the downtrend highs. That's the resistance. We get above it. Big upside. If we come up here and bounce off of it, this could go down to the triple digits. Ooh, you may be like, well, that's still in the 4 digits. Yeah, we could drop all the way to like 700 on Ethereum. That's the kind of setup we have in place right now. It's really dangerous because this is a lower high. Where's this all come from? It comes from this move. This move down. If we echo that big move over here, This big move right here, if we echo that off of this, see that? That's those triple digits I was talking about. Not great. So if this holds that downtrend, that's the warning. We could see Ethereum back down here. If you're like, not possible, guess what? Guess what? Very possible right now. NKD, like I said, just still churning sideways. It's tightening up right on the roadmap line. This is not bullish price action. This might be indicating, so if S&P and NASDAQ go up and hit those targets, we might be setting up the perfect storm where we get another liquidity event, global liquidity crisis event. I don't know, that would suck Bitcoin down too. Might suck Ethereum down. These are the warnings right here. Global liquidity will affect everything. Dollar churning right here. This has the setup to come down into this zone. Get a little flush in the dollar. So we may see that flush, and then we could see that Nike flush and this pop again. And then that again. It's kind of what I think. All right, so I go pull everything moving $2 or more up, put it on the gainers list, $2 or more down, put it on the decliners list, and then we go through it looking for some opportunities. So that's where this list come from. I run it pre-market. I don't update it. I don't pre-look at it. I have no idea what's on here, except for a few things that, obviously we're moving. We've got that Bitcoin stuff a little bit in there. We've got some BABA, yeah. So monolithic power systems coming up into the roadmap line. That's resistance. If we can get above here, and there's a gap down here and a gap down here. There's some resistance going higher on this one. This one's got kind of the resistance stacked against it here. So there's a resistance zone. Here's a resistance zone. And we're just right in the middle of this one. Be careful. 1,000 would be the target if we can clear these two zones. Clear that one, clear this one. That's the target up there. Right around 1,000. EXPE. Nice little pop. Didn't actually hit the roadmap line. That is the 1618 of this big retrace back here. I would be cautious. If you were long this, it might be time to protect profit. Consider stepping off. That is the 1272. So there is a confluence right in there. This pullback and then this bigger pullback kind of meet with confluence right here. Significant resistance. Could it go a little higher? Yeah, 200, 212. Then it's probably going to pull back again. Just the likely thing to happen. These things don't just go ripping off and keep going. They just don't. In general. Net, Cloudflare coming on up. This thing might be kicking in the bigger retrace from back here in 21, 22. And we're setting up the bigger expansion to 300. That's what that really looks like. We're going to kick this baby off and go cruising right up here at 300. That's about a double from where we are now. And you're like, how long might that take? How long should I buy options out to if I'm going to play it? If you're going for a double, maybe just buy shares. It's a reasonable thing, but if you really wanted to play some options, you could look out here. I mean, these are pretty spicy. $3,000 just for a 200. Don't have anything up to 300. Why am I looking out 27? That's how long it might take. I mean, we could get there by 26, but I'm not sure. Like, there's a 210 here. See, maybe we had a 210. Yeah, we got a 210. That's still $3,000 for one contract. That's not the kind of money where you buy a bunch of them and you're all set. If this was like 30 cents, it might be worth it. $30? I don't know. It's got to go to 240 just to break even. And then if it goes to 300, then you're only up like $70. Yeah. Not super awesome. Not super awesome. You'd almost be better off doing like a 170, 210 spread. 40 bucks, 30 bucks. So you'd have $10 risk and possibly $40 upside. It's almost better than buying this one outright. Now, may not work out, may fail. You got to be careful. Significant risk of loss in all trading. Take two. That's what, like, so bottom line for me right there, shares would probably be the better bet. You got a 2x potential on shares, and you can control the risk a little tighter, like 150 bucks minimum size. The other one, you're gonna have to put like $1,000 into it minimum size. Any questions? You can let me know. That's kind of how I look at it. Like, bang for the buck. Where's the risk reward? How much money how much money am I willing to put into it? If you're just buying one call at 210 straight out right, you're putting $3,000 at risk. Doesn't sound super strong. Take two has resistance at the all-time high. If possibly we're done on this thing, finally done with this corrective price action, we may go an extension of 275, possibly even 375. Not bad, not super high, but 50% gain, 75% gain. Docs, nice pop through. This one may be finally set up to rally on up to 137, 171. LEU, just kind of chopping around a little bit. Potential for this to come on up to 128, 139. AZPN, Aspen. Oh, hit the target. Look at that. See if that was the. And we still have higher target to go. This is probably, that's from way back when. Drew that fib. There you go. 282, 300, 350. Upside resistance. And this may do a kind of move like something like that. If we're going higher. And it may retrace back to the roadmap line and kind of reset everything. You can see how choppy this was before it went on this little rip we're on. So I'd be careful. This could get another one of these big retraces like we've had historically since since June of 23. It's the last year and a half, almost 2 years. It's been known to do some big retraces. Affirm Holdings didn't hit the roadmap line, pushing up through. Let's see. Let's just clear these drawings off here. Go for the next. That high, that low. And next upside resistance around 78, 81, possibly 91 pins. And wow. Measured bounce in play. We don't just take this back today. If it takes that back, I would GTFO probably. If we can maintain this move right here into the close today, probably coming up here. That could be pretty strong. We will have to break out through the high back there, but yeah, that area and possibly even further up 140. This could be a nice play right there. $40 to 140. That's almost a 4x on shares. Let's go see if anybody's what the options market looks like out for a ways. Yeah, this is a much more reasonable play. It's $700 risk. And that could go to 400. I mean, or whatever. No, 160. Excuse me, 140. So it could be a triple on the option. $7 is 57. 100. Let's say just 100. So $50 minus your 7. $43 profit on a. Yeah, that's a nice risk to reward. Potential for 43 with a $7 risk. And 14% return potential. Versus shares that are a potential like 2 to 4x. I might actually buy one of those just to see. Might. MSTR, still trying to decide. Are we going to drop to the roadmap line? Or are we going to pop up to targets? I guess they rename themselves just strategy. I don't know. Hadn't updated on here yet. Roadmap line bounce. Nice potential. The drawings. This high, this low. 618 we need to clear right there for the conservative entry. That high, right in there, about 95. Looking for that upside right around 108, possibly 112. FTNT. Nice extension. Possibly going up for that target up there around 122. I would watch out. Like if we do that, watch out for that. And then possibly that. If we do that, then we possibly set up for that. PANW. I'm not predicting time really, so that one could take longer to play out than what I drew. PANW pushing back up into the high. If we can break back above that, we can set up the stage for that higher move. Right now, I am cautious that we do the rejection down here. Coinbase, still not deciding. Still consolidating right there. FUTU might be able to break above these highs. If we do, pushes it right up here, 144, possibly activating the bigger move on up into these targets up here around 300. Not bad. That's a 3x on shares potential. Baba. Clearing the resistance. I like it. Sets the stage for that target at 124 right there. I think there's some BobX. Yeah, you can get a 2x leverage on that baby. Don't have to play shares. You could just play that. 36 on the upside. And 24 to 36. That's a 50% gain. Not bad. No time decay. ZS. Coming up into the resistance. Be careful. This may be heading down here. We've got this high. We've got this low. Got that resistance right at that 618 we've been holding. That may result in that right there. Marvel chips, not superheroes. There's the highs. We did retrace back to the breakout basically, so this may go on an extension right up to the 1618. That level up here around 180, 177, right up there. Just did hold. It just did kind of back test the breakout right there. Maybe able to cruise on up to 177, 178, 180 area up there. Upstart. Caution is advised. Target resistance maybe right here in this 150 area. It's 120 to 160. Big fat zone. It may come up there and turn down. That's 3 waves up. If it does turn down there, it might go make a lower low back down here. That'd be pretty rough. I mean, look at that. That went from 300 down to like 15. It's like Carvana. Could do it again. Go from 150 back down. Airbnb. Still having a tough time. Has not been able to break through resistance. It's kind of the flip point of the chart. Bias down until we can break above up here. has a setup to go higher, but it's not getting above resistance, which indicates it may fail. Please be careful chasing Airbnb. A-Lab, if we can gap fill it, get about that 120 area, looking for 160 on the upside. BitX is just Bitcoin, so if Bitcoin breaks out, this one will rip. Bill, ooh, ouch. Went a little higher than I thought we might, but the path I drew months ago, down in here. Pull that high over just slightly. Yep. Still expecting something down in this zone. Sometimes I get it right. Be careful. Update slightly with the new information. Why would I think it's going to do that? Because of this bigger pattern. That's a very bearish pattern. It did drop back below the roadmap line. Can set up the downside there. Be careful. Elf Beauty continuing its plummet into the abyss. Kind of sets the so we're at this bottom resistance, or this next level down here. Right there. If we get below that, we're probably coming down here. $20. Giant drop. I'm just drawing extra crap for no reason. All right. Be careful. That went up. Crazy exponential. This could chop a little bit and plummet back to the abyss. I mean, that may have been the chop, and we come right back down to this consolidation area. Why would it do that? You may be like, why? Check this out right here. We do this right here. Tend to get a little chop, and then we tend to take it back. Just like that. I call this the bubble pattern. It's not a pattern I look for, but it's a pattern that shows up all the time. I don't try to trade this pattern unless it's just really spicy. Really spicy. Like I tried to trade SMCI and I ran out of time right in here, and then it plummeted out and I would have made a bunch of money, and some of you did make a bunch of money on SMCI. NVIDIA, I still feel like it's working on this part right here. And I eased up on my short on the last drop. I think we had one of these. Now we're going to rally back up. I can get back in and wait for another drop. So Elf Beauty looks like we're going to take that one back down. Should you short it? I can't make that decision for you. I tend to not just play shorts all over the place in the market. You could play out to 2027. Those downside targets, kind of spicy to get that exposure down to 45. Might that pay out? I don't know. You know, it could go to 22, 45, hanging out right in here. Doesn't have to go that low. Could turn right here. So it's hard to, you know, the market is biased up. If we just all of a sudden start ripping, like this could turn around and go, right? I mean, it's possible. NBIX, Neuroscene biopharmaceutical stuff. I just don't like to play that at all. MSGS, Madison Square Gardens. Look at that target right there, the 1618. That wasn't even the right one, but kind of funny how it works sometimes when I leave these fibs on here from way back when. Yeah, 1272. If the confluence, like between that pullback, this pullback, it all came together as a confluence right there. We stopped there and we started pulling back. It's kind of funny. I don't focus on the confluence as much on here, but like when you look at my messy chart for the S&P 500, that's where I'm looking for confluences and stuff, like where the fibs start lining up. This may be, since this was a nice strong move up to that confluence of targets at the top there, this may be looking for a 618 retrace. If we do that, it's called a measured bounce. Set this thing up for a much larger upside potential. Something up in this zone would be likely 300, 340. That's pretty good. That's 50, like 53% upside, 54, 55% upside. On shares, not bad. Bad at all. Oop, clicked the wrong thing. Here we go from that level, right up in there. Even 60, 70%? It's at 80% on the, yeah, there's the 56% right there. But it's got to get the retrace, you know, from just where we are right now. Possibly got to the middle, possibly only at 52%. Opportunity, but I'd want to see that come on down though before I bought in, because then your percentage gain, it gets even, the risk reward gets much better, much spicier for that potential. ILMN. I don't know if I would take it though. I like the ones that are 200-300% upside potential. This one, if we break down below this uptrend of lows, which we're trying to today, if we stick it, be heading down here. Now this could also be a measured bounce. This move up, this retrace, right like that. This is only 3 waves up though, very proportional. Gives me a little caution. We may only see it rally up to this area right here, just the 100% move. So if this breaks back above the roadmap line, probably going to cruise right up into this zone and then may turn down again. SKX, Skechers. Man, talk about a different chart than Nike right there. That one's grinding higher, hit the target, retracing the roadmap line, might set it up again. Versus like Nike cannot get out of its own way. This just keeps grinding into the dirt. So charts of haves and have-nots right there. How? 391. I'd want to see that dip just a little more to set up the bigger projection there. Amazon, as we said, has it set up to retrace. Now, it would not surprise me if the coming days we start breaking back below. Break back below that high from back here in December. Then we break back below this kind of resistance zone, the bottom of the target area, come back to the roadmap line area, and then get something even deeper. Would not surprise me one bit. So definitely be careful there. PTIR, and still grinding higher. Go check PLTR. Getting to the upper end of the target. Next one up. Let's talk next targets. Next targets. Potential 170. Even though that seems a little crazy. And this thing might get up into this clear area, hit one of these intermediate fibs, do a little retrace back to kind of here, and then get that climb. And it's always possible we go visit the roadmap line in a fast fashion like we did right back here. So keep in mind that that has downside risk. You may be like, I don't care, I'm just going to keep riding. Be careful, please. The hype on this thing, the hype train can keep hyping until one day it just stops. All right, the music stops. Everybody runs for the one chair left in the room. Bag holders get left holding bags. Look at that market cap right there. On how much revenue? Not very much. Look at these revenue numbers. And look at that price to sales. Price to sales, 66 now after Q4. Anything over 20 is ridiculous. Yeah, actual sales numbers, revenue, $827 million. Price of sales, what the fudge, man? 67? Are you kidding me? This thing's going to come down eventually. 34 was ridiculous. 66 is Yeah, that doubled, just about. This thing's run at 20 for a long time. 20 is the danger. Like 20 is hitting the red line. When you cook it up to 66, unless they start growing revenue substantially, they're eventually gonna come back down. It's just I see this over and over and over in the markets. It's a warning sign, but they can remain irrational way longer than any of us can remain solvent. You know, it's a very old market sage right there. So I've got somebody calling me. Can't answer that. Toyota Motors. Jump down to the chart, just chopping around, sitting on the roadmap line, nothing bullish. AMSC, sitting here at the resistance. This kind of has the potential of going up to 40 right there. American Superconductor. AMZU, 2x bull on Amazon getting whacked. This may come on down pretty violently as Amazon's chart gives it up. Yang. This one keeps showing up on the chart as the biggest loser. As our China bulls, our China stuff starts turning bullish, Baidu and PDD. Saw lots of news on PDD. Big upside potential here. Saw some news stories that were saying this thing may just rip. It has a good risk to reward ratio. It's been consolidating. We set up this big pullback from back here in May of last year down to the bottom here in August of last year when the Japanese yen carry trade kind of blew out. Big three-wave retrace. We made an initial move up. We made a retrace. It went pretty deep, but it did not make a lower low. It made a higher low. Still sets us up. Potential 180 and maybe even an outperformance all the way up to 200 or so. This is still the target, despite all the, we did not stop this trade out. This has been active since back here in September. Talked about it with other gurus, and while it's been underwater, it's still valid. Still valid. I never got into it myself, but I might now if we poke through the roadmap line. Nice risk to reward here. Microchip pushing on down into the abyss. Let's get below. That may take a bigger spill here. May come back to these lows. Already pushed through those lows. May come back to these lows. Down in here. Don't like that one too much on the pattern. AMZZ. That's another 2Xer on Amazon. QNTM. That one keeps showing up, but eventually the music stops. Well, we did this before when we IPO'd over here. Doing it again. Right here. That's a lower high. Probably going to go down for a lower low. It's just likely what happens. WBTN, Webtoon Entertainment. That's pretty choppy. There's the lows. There's support. We may go busting down below it. It's kind of a IPO nasty corrective pattern and probably going to get another continuation lower. Could come down into the single digits pretty easily. We're not far away now. And as far as the bonus trade goes, let me pull one up here. I had one picked out. I just, for whatever reason, didn't make it to the list. Let's see, paste it on here. PFBC. There you go. So this kicked off the entry with a close above the close at 93.15 yesterday, which was above the 618 level. Here was the high way back over here. Here was the low right down in here. That was the 618 level, and we closed above it yesterday. This sets up the target at 102.60, a stop below 79.30, which is down, a dollar below this low right here. This is 92% of the time that this is set up on PFBC. You may have never even heard of that. I certainly don't know what the heck it is. We'll go look in a second. Profit factor of 8. That's pretty strong. Only 13 trades, though, since 1998. It's been around a while, but it doesn't set up these trades very often. They typically last about 45 days on average. All right. So let's go take a look at the PFBC chart, PFBC. And then we'll go through my bias for the day. So preferred bank, sounds pretty good. Banking's been fairly strong. There's the move. There's the uptrend. I like this uptrend on the roadmap line. It's pretty solid. We did get the close right there. That all matches. And there's the upside potential right up in here. I like it. There's the actual fire off right there. Yeah, it's all came together pretty strong here. I like it. I like it. So as far as 45 days on average, what does that look like? Use this tool right here, date and price range tool, 45 days, takes us out right around, that's 66 calendar days. Now, why is calendar days and trading days different? There's no candles on the weekend. So this could be 2 months, right there, a little over 2 months, 66 days, but it could, that's just an average on 13 trades. So take 2 of anything. One's above average, one's below average. So this could go longer than the average. Might go 2 times longer, out 90 trading days. That'd put us somewhere out in June or July, potentially before it worked out. It could take that long. Could go fast. It could be, this could continue, get a little continuation, and we go right up there, and it could be there in March. It's possible. Could come up here, get a little pullback, take us out a ways, and then come up here and be out in June. I don't know. Like, time frame is hard. And that's why I give you the average, but we never know if it's above average or below average. And then it doesn't have a regular good strong option chain either. So this would be a potential $9 upside. So almost a 10% upside with shares if you're willing to wait for it. Right up there. And about 11% right there with the pullback today. Not bad. Not bad. Let's go through the bias one more time. Bias for today, bias for the near term. We're pushing up. We're trying to push up through that resistance. Trying. Next resistance is at these prior highs. Got to set a lower highs. If we push on through those, looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Target zone right up here around 6200, 6250 on the ES. That's the S&P 500 futures. Yeah, the cash index running a little bit behind that. You can see there's about a $25, $45 discrepancy between the two. So if this gets to 6250, this one will be running roughly 6210-ish. 6205, 6210. Yeah, that tracks. There you go. This high back here, this low back here. At 62. Yeah, top of that. That's the target. Looking like we're going to push on through, hopefully. Yeah. Peeling back a little bit on the cash index. All of a sudden, that's at that 10 o'clock. Yeah, got that 10 o'clock news. Yeah, I warned about that inflation. Oops, clicked on the wrong one. Try the refresh, get the numbers. Turn a little sour grapes on the inflation expectation. Consumer sentiment came in a little light. Inflation came in a little spicy. I don't know. It's a big spike. All right, everybody. I'm going to wrap it up here. Hope you have a great day. Be safe out there. I'll be at Discord. If you want to come join me, links in the description. Just buy something, like $5. And if you don't trust me, don't buy anything. Just keep coming back. Be subscribed. See you on Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9:15.